What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Justin Jones
and Courtney.
And look, today's video is about for better or for worse. Check it out. So, today we wanted to talk about married couples committing their vows and the ideology of for better or for worse. When two people get together and they become one and they marry each other, typically the vows are for better or for worse. That entails if the loved one, if the spouse gains weight, that entails if things happen in a marriage, one person starts to lose their hairline, if one person's feet start to get stinky and wearing,
breath starts to get stinky.
Yeah. And so for better or for worse is the reminder that regardless of if any of those things happen, you have to stay with your spouse to the end of the day, until the end of your days. And so this idea came up because there was this one meme floating around where there was this lady, she is an actress, and she looked very good when she was younger, very slim, very youthful looking, and then as she got older and as the marriage started to age, her weight started to age not gracefully, and she picked up a lot of weight, and it was one of those things where you just thought to yourself like, man, you know, she gained a little weight, she was still cute, but it's like, geez, you know, it makes you think like, wow, how things can change over time, and how, you know, anything could happen to one of us. I could get into a car accident and become paralyzed and be in a wheelchair. I can, you know, run into, you know, someone could pour acid on my face and I could never look the same again. And so all these things start to cross your mind, but for better or for worse.
Yes.
And so our question to you, YouTube, is even if your spouse decides to gain weight, if your spouse decides to lose it all, if your spouse starts to lose his hairline, are you willing, is it worth separating over those petty things?
Now, when I was first pregnant with Cassidy, the very first time I weighed, what was my weight? Like 130, 140 was always my average weight. I always went between those two weights. And towards the end of the pregnancy, I was almost 200 pounds. And just to show you a picture, my face was swollen. I looked like a whole another person. And you still loved me, and you still called me beautiful. And you know, I'm grateful because I have a husband that I know will still love me regardless. And he still valued me as his wife, and I was grateful. A lot of people don't have that privilege, and he didn't call me no fat cow. He didn't, you know, say nobody gonna be with you because you so fat. No, he stayed with me, and lo and behold, once I had Cassidy, I shed all that weight.
Bounce back.
I don't know if it was a bounce. It was like,
you bounce back faster than others.
Yeah.
But look, couples, this isn't a message to say like just go out and lose yourself. This is a message to encourage you all, like love supersedes all of those petty items that were discussed earlier. However, don't go into a marriage wanting to lose yourself. Go into a marriage trying to outdo the other person, trying to be a better you than what you were when you initially came into that marriage. Too often we get too comfortable, we get too complacent, and the mindset of being lazy may creep in, and it may ruin a lot of things, but that's very stingy, and that's not caring for your spouse and for your loved one. And so I understand things happen, life happens, weight is gained as we grow older, but just try to take care of yourself, and the same things that you brought into your marriage should be the same things that you're using as the marriage continues on.
Keep that same energy.
Yes.
I know that when Justin and I first got married, I think as a couple, we were making $0.
A little bit of money.
No, we were making $0. When we first got married, we were on a cruise. I just came from the call center. I probably was making like $800 a month, and we didn't make any money. And you didn't have a job for a couple of months, and it was it really wasn't frustrating. I felt like we didn't let money steer us down. I know a lot of times marriages fail because of finances, but we didn't really try to live outside. We didn't try to keep up, like we're the Joneses, but we didn't try to keep up with the Joneses. Like
not at all. Exact opposite.
Yes, it was the exact opposite. Like we continued to tithe our 10% every time we got paid, and we just lived modestly, and we looked very much like below our means. And that was a blessing to us because it taught us really to value each other rather than looking at things to bless us, but more so let God bless us. Yes. And it was crazy because if I needed some clothes or something like that, like I don't know, like my grandma, like during Christmas time, she'll buy me a whole bunch of work clothes, and I love, like, work clothes are my favorite type of clothes. And I'll be like, oh man, like grandma, she, like, my grandmother would bless me, or my mom would go through her closet and be like, where do you want this? Like, I would be blessed. Like, yeah, these are hand-me-downs, but they cute hand-me-downs. And then on top of that, it blessed me because I didn't have to go out my way and purchase these very expensive items. Instead, like God had his servants provide for me. And so same thing with Justin. Like, people would give him things. I mean, just things would just come out of nowhere. We didn't have to really buy things, or even for Cassidy, like we didn't really have to buy or purchase things. We didn't put her into daycare until she was 11 months, and that's when both Justin and I had a job. But I mean, when we first got married, we didn't make squat. We was broke and happy.
I don't know about happy, but we was broke.
I was happy with you.
Oh, we was happy with each other.
Yeah, silly.
You know.
And then he got his first job. How much was you making a year?
A lot before that time.
You were making a lot for that time.
I was a fresh graduate, and I had 2 instructors take me underneath their wings, and they put me into the greatest position that a lot of college graduates do not get to see. And so I was blessed with a favorable position, and it did us very well for that time.
It did. It lasted us a good while. You was there for a year and a half before they laid you off. And then when he got laid off,
I don't know if you have to say all of that, but
you always tell my business. I'm about to tell you our business. Look, let me tell y'all, his boy has a testimony. He was just living just way too humble not to tell y'all his testimony, but we'll get there. But even when he got laid off, like, we still saved up enough money to where we didn't even have to use our savings. I was working, I had a graduate assistantship. I was able to pay things off, like with that. He was still able to pay off his student loans. It was just, again, blessings on blessings on blessings. Like, God never failed us. Even if, one person lost their job, God never failed us. Having Cassidy, God never failed us. It was always somebody willing to watch Cassidy, whether it was our pastor, whether it was our friends from church. Like, we were set. And then when we moved out to Texas, we were even more set up because we were placed in a situation where we were able to save enough money to purchase our own home. And so that was amazing. That's a blessing within its own self. That's a whole nother testimony we can share with y'all that we can get to at a later time. But again, like, for better or for worse, definitely we send each other through the worst. I mean, we're a couple. We've been married. It'll be 5 years in June. Like, we've had our difficulties, and we've had our great times, and we had our difficulties, and some more difficulties. But every time we go through those trials and tribulations, we honestly grow, like, together.
Yeah,
to better
makes us
understand.
better.
Yeah, it makes us better towards one another, and it makes us better human beings, I feel, overall. And yeah, it makes us better parents, because I mean, who wants to argue in front of their kids? You know, like, I know one thing, like, I hate arguing in front of Cassidy, because I'm just like, oh, you know, I'm just like, but Cassidy, you know, and that's one thing I honestly, that's for the worst, but it gets better, you know. And so she's just like, you know, she's so sweet, but
for better or for worse,
for better or for
love
worse.
your spouse until it hurts. Love them and cherish them, because life is short. And some of those instances, some of those scenarios we gave you earlier, some of those examples, things happen, life happens, but I don't believe that God would have given you too much to where you couldn't go through it with each other. It's a testimony. It just goes to show how great our God is when He can put two opposite-minded people together, have them cohabitate, have them raise a family together. And sometimes they may not agree on much, but if there's one thing that they have to agree on, if it's one thing that we have to agree on, it's that God will be in the center of our lives. And so for better or for worse, don't give up, don't let go, love until it hurts.
Yeah, and I also remember one time, like this time, like after I got pregnant, y'all, when you get pregnant, and if it's your first time pregnant, postpartum is something else. Anyway, I was in so much pain after I came home from the hospital. I was in so much pain, and I just remembered Justin helping me taking off my clothes so I can just take a shower, because I didn't take a shower for like the past 2 days, because I mean, I was terrified because a lot of things had just happened. I just gave birth to a human being, and so as I'm in there crying, he's helping me take off my clothes. It was messy. If people who gave birth, you know what I'm talking about. And just this wonderful human being helped me go through that, and it was the most difficult time of my life. I don't think I could. I mean, we're gonna go through it again eventually, but
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done that without you.
Aww.
Yeah. Definitely my rock. Definitely my supporter. So, my best friend.
Men, man up. Women up. And get it together. We love you all. We hope this video blessed you. And we will see you next time.
Yes.